안녕하세요. 나줌마쌤입니다. 이번 영상은 새해에 관한 질문에 원어민 친구들이 답하는 영상입니다. 미국 문화 자체가 샐러드 볼처럼 다양성을 가지고 있기에 원어민 친구들의 대답은 참고로만 알아두시길 바래요.
Myself. Hi, my name is Regina George. I am an administrator at a university.
저는 Rajiv입니다. My name is Rajiv.
I think we all want to stay up until midnight. We all want to be awake when the year changes. And living in Detroit, where I grew up, what happened at midnight was people would take their gun, which they hadn't usually fired all year long, and they would go outside at midnight and shoot their gun just to make sure it still worked. Right? And so growing up in Detroit at midnight, there'd be lots of gunfire.
Oh my
God. Really exciting because it was all up in the air.
Wow.
So I don't know that people do that quite as much, but I think a little bit they still do that. And it's a great time to come together with friends to celebrate a new year, the end and the beginning.
Yeah.
So often you want to be with friends, but if you can't, then you just sit on your couch and watch the TV shows with the ball dropping in New York City. That's my favorite part. Because I've been looking at it since I was little. So it's my favorite thing.
Got it. Gunfire instead of fireworks.
Instead of fireworks, not so many fireworks, but the guns would fire at midnight.
Got it. Oh, good to know. I will not visit Detroit on New Year's Eve.
I think it's popular. People kind of maybe drink or have a meal and then are kind of sitting together in the living room. And the idea is there's traditionally some kind of countdown that's happening towards the New Year's event, midnight. And so people are gathered around the TV having some kind of party or something. And so there's not really anything during the day. It's more of just kind of waiting midnight and with some gathering, either family or friends.
Got it.
Oh, drink champagne, getting very dressed up, wearing a silly hat or wearing a mask, an eye mask, and being at a party with friends, dancing, dining, having a delicious meal and celebrating. I think that's sort of what we do on New Year's Eve, whether we do it at home with our family or we go out and we do it. People go to many parties New Year's Eve.
Do you?
Yes, I often, but I am also content to stay home. But if there's an opportunity for a party, I like a party. I've had parties.
I think the thing is when you're waiting for midnight, traditionally there's some kind of broadcast from New York, Times Square, and there's the ball that drops at midnight, and everyone then celebrates that there's a new year. I think some people also might express kind of gratitude of the past year and what things have happened, and maybe wishes for the new year. And I think many of us wish for things like, I'm finally going to work out, I'm finally going to lose weight, I'm going to do these kinds of things. And so I think a lot of people tie those kinds of wishes to the new year, thinking, here's a new start. So I'm now going to make these commitments.
For me, I usually make a New Year's resolution.
Yes.
Yeah, many people do, right?
New Year's Day is football. I'm a football fan. So New Year's Day, I've been watching football again, I think since I was a little girl on New Year's Day. And we also have black-eyed peas and greens. I will slice carrots or sausage to look like coins. So the black-eyed peas and greens and something that looks like coins is said, bring money to your house. So again, that's just something I got used to doing maybe in my 20s or 30s. And so it doesn't feel like New Year's Day if I'm not eating that. I like to eat that and watch football and perhaps recover from all the champagne if you drank a lot of champagne the night before.
I think New Year's Day, I think it's turned a bit into maybe a day where you go to the movies or maybe go shopping if the stores are open. I think it's just another holiday where you have the day off, so you might, gather with family or friends and do something.
Thank you.
I think my favorite New Year's Eve memory is in New York City. And I wanted to see the ball drop, but everyone said, don't go to Times Square because you have to get there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and blah, blah, blah. So we went to Birdland, which is a jazz club in Manhattan.
Okay.
And to get there, we were very near Times Square.
Oh, great.
And so there were lots of people, but the club itself, we were very fortunate. There were no reservations. We were very fortunate to get the last 2 seats at the bar and listen to amazing music. And then right before midnight, I went outside and went down the street and I could see the ball drop. I just wanted to see the ball drop in person. It's on my bucket list. I got to see it without being in the jammed crowd.
Wow. When was it?
That must have been just 5-6 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. It took me a long time to get to see the ball in person. And it was worth it. It was worth it.
Was it? Was it?
Yes, it was.
Do you want to highly recommend it to me?
Yes, I do. Don't go to Times Square.
No.
Walking to the club, we were on a sidewalk when there were a lot of people around the square. And you are like this with people right here and right here and right here. And you're just, Larry and I, my husband and I were separated. And he got very anxious about us being separated. I have my purse here. It's pretty tight. If I picked my feet up off the ground, I might have just been carried. It was that tight. I was glad to get out of it, but my husband was really glad to get out of it. He didn't like it at all. So go there and go someplace nearby where you can come out at midnight and you can see it from a distance.
Wow, great. Oh.
And then when we left to take the train back to where we were staying, the subway was filled with people who were also happy, who were dressed up, who had on their silly hats and their masks and their streamers and noisemakers. And there were lots of police, but it was a very jubilant, happy crowd.
Great.
It was fun. It was a lot. That is my most memorable. I'm glad I did that.
Good. Do you want to watch that ball drop again in New York?
Yes, I do. I want to go back again. Yes, I do. Again, not to go to Times Square, not to be in that crowd, but to be somewhere nearby. Yes, I do. Yeah, New York, New Year's Eve was the best.
I really want to be there someday.
It was wonderful. If you like the city and you like crowds and you like that feeling of everyone together and celebrating, it's the place to be. If you don't, if you prefer more quiet and you don't like the crowds, then as I said, you can watch it on TV.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful there too.
오늘도 시청해주셔서 감사합니다. 영상이 조금이나마 도움이 되었다면 좋아요와 구독 부탁드릴게요. 새해 복 많이 받으세요. 해피 뉴 이어. 바이.